what's up you guys? I'm Esther and welcome back to my channel, and today we are making some next level gluten-free vegan cookies. Now, I'm not gluten-free, but I have been in a number of situations where I've had to make gluten-free cookies. And forever, I've thought like a lot of gluten-free cookies just aren't the greatest. They taste dry or crumbly or just not like a cookie, and I'm just not a fan. So over time, I've developed this recipe, and it's just like top tier, 10 out of 10. Amazing cookie, to the point where people don't even believe that it's gluten-free when they eat them. So I'm going to show you how to make them today. We're going to start with some coconut oil. It needs to be semi-solid at least. It can be fully solid, but mine's like a little bit soft because it's really warm in my apartment, like literally all of the time, because of our lovely heating system, water boiler system. Okay, so we're going to do 2/3 of a cup of this coconut oil. And I just like to scoop it out with this spatula and put it into here. So this is going to be acting as our solid fat in our cookies. Just like in normal cookies, you would have butter and sugar. And like I said, this can be done with vegan butter, and you would soften your butter and cream it with the sugar. But the coconut oil is usually fast because you store coconut oil in your cupboard and it's already soft. You have no waiting time for your butter to get soft. You just have your coconut oil nice and ready to go. And it'll mix super easy with your sugar. And I have both white sugar and brown sugar. I like to do a mix because I think all brown sugar is a little aggressive, but I also like the taste of like the brown sugar in there with the molasses because it kind of like deepens the flavor and makes it richer, a nicer cookie. So I'm going to do 1/2 cup of each. 1/2 cup of the brown packed, and you can just pack it with your fingers or against the side of your bowl container, or if you keep it in the bag, you can pack it with your fingers over the bag so you don't get your fingers dirty. And 1/2 cup of this white sugar. And so now that that's in there, I'm going to attach my paddle attachment. And we're just going to cream it like you would cream butter and sugar, and it's going to stay there for like 2 minutes and just mix up like that. This is what it looks like when it's almost ready. Just a nice creamy mixture. It's still kind of dry, but that's perfectly fine. Okay, so once your coconut oil and your sugar are whipped together nice, just give that 2 minutes. We're going to add the rest of our liquid ingredients into this bowl, which is just 1/4 cup of this coconut milk. You can also use almond, cashew, rice, soy, like literally whatever non-dairy milk you deeply desire. These are for the most part allergen-free cookies. We do use this almond flour for part of the flour mix, but you can replace it with more oat flour if you want it to be completely like nut-free. And then we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I'm just going to mix that on low till it all gets mixed together.
Later.
Okay, so I have all my liquid ingredients in my stand mixer right now. They're all mixed together. It's a nice cookie mixture. And so we're going to get started on the dry mixer. And this step is not 100% necessary, but it's important to me because I like smaller oats. Like I blend my oatmeal to make it into oat flour because I prefer it as oat flour versus oatmeal. But if you like the chunky oats in there, go ahead. You can live your own life. I may or may not support you, but you can live your own life. So I'm just going to get 2 cups of these oats and put them in this little food processor. I had trouble thinking of the word. I wanted to call it a blender, but I know it's not. It's okay if your cup is a little bit like fuller than 1 cup because the volume goes down when you measure it as a cup of like whole oats to a cup of oat flour. But it's always turned out fine for me. Like it's not that deep, I promise. As I spill my oats everywhere. So talented. Okay, so I'm gonna blend these on a puree until they're oat flour consistency.
2,000 years later.
So it takes about 1 minute to get this to a nice smooth oat flour consistency. The best way possible to get a nice smooth oat flour is a Vitamix with the dry blender base, but I don't have a dry blender base, so this is fine. So just make sure you get all of the oats in the bowl there. I put them in a separate bowl because I like to mix up my dry ingredients separately from my wet ingredients, because otherwise your baking soda and your baking powder can cling up and get into these little like pockets, and then you'll end up with like bitter bites of your cookie and they won't raise properly because it's not evenly distributed. Pro tips for life. And next is this almond flour, almond meal, the extra fine. And you can get this in like the store, not this one, I got this at the health food store, but you can get almond meal just at like Walmart in the baking section. I think it's in like a big blue bag, and that's the one I've used for like ever. It's in like the specialty flour section. Wow, I really can't get this open. A struggle. The flour is secure. Federal government lockdown. Good lord. Okay. So my almond meal is open. If you are allergic to nuts or almonds, just do this same recipe with 2 extra cups of oat flour instead of the almond flour. I love this almond flour because it's like the nicest consistency. It gives like the best mouthfeel to your cookies. It just makes them so soft and delicious, and because almond flour is already, it has that moisture, it ensures that your cookie is not going to just be like dry and crumbly like a lot of gluten-free baking goods. So I'm going to measure out 2 cups of my almond flour. In bags like this, so I'm not just like packing the flour in, I like to churn the bag and kind of let the flour fall into my measuring cup so it's not super densely packed. You can also spoon it out and like sweep off the extra, but this is an easy way if you don't want to like get out 2 more utensils. Next, we need our leaveners. We're using both baking soda and baking powder. You're going to need 1 teaspoon of each. And I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of just this natural sea salt. If you're salt free, don't be. Sorry if that sounds offensive, but salt is a like necessary nutrient. It's a necessary mineral. It needs to be in your body, and it makes all of your food taste better. It's a flavor enhancer. So leaving it out of things is denying you all of the delicious flavors you could get even from things like baked goods. Like this is going to bring out the notes in the brown sugar and in the chocolate that we're about to put in, and it just makes it so much better and such a richer experience for you and your tongue and your body. You know what I'm saying? Like just put salt in things. You gotta do it. I'm gonna just mix all of this together, like my flours, my baking soda, my baking powder, and my salt, in this dry mix bowl here till it's all well done. You can also whisk this together if you want, but I had the spatula sitting here, and I just don't like washing more utensils, so I'm just gonna take this whole mixture and I'm gonna stick it in here. Just gonna put it right on top. Perfect. Now I'm gonna mix this up. It takes like probably 2 minutes to get it all incorporated. Just get it all moist and mixed together. I'll show you how it looks before we add our chocolate. So this is our cookie mixture coming together. Let me just show you. It's nice and moist and That's kind of what you want your cookie dough to be looking like. Okay, so now that we have our cookie dough all mixed together, I'm going to show you the most annoying part of this entire process. Again, not necessary, but it's kind of like a great cookie secret that I'm going to share with you because it is like delicious and amazing. I say it's annoying because it's like the loudest thing ever. We're going to go back to this food processor that we have. It's fine that there's still a little bit of like oat flour in the bottom. If you use the Vitamix dry blender, you can use that too to do this. But you're going to take 1/4 cup of chocolate chips and you're going to blend them in here so they're kind of like small and like almost like a powder. Don't use cocoa powder for this because it's not the same. This being like the chocolate chips with the oil and already like made and everything, it just puts tiny bits of chocolate throughout the entire cookie. Try it at some point in your life. It's so delicious. Something else I should tell you is that this cookie dough can be made into many things from this point. Like, I'm making it into chocolate chip cookies, but you can also like add all of the seasonings and make them ginger snaps, which I've done before and are delicious. You could add peanut butter and make them like into peanut butter cookies. You could make them into like coconut cookies. You could add nuts. You could add different fillings. You could do a lot of things with this cookie base, and it's a delicious cookie base. So use this, and from this step on, I'll give you some more ideas in the description below of like what you can do from this cookie base, because it's just really good. And if you enjoy it, I hope you make lots of different kinds of cookies. So I'm gonna blend up these chocolate chips right now real quick. Great. Now that everybody in the entire apartment complex is deaf, I have my chocolate. So this is kind of what it looks like. They just look like little crumbs. I don't know what to compare this to. If you can see it, it looks like that. They're just like little crumbs of chocolate. This is it right here. This is the secret. This is what you want. So I'm going to add this in. Make sure you get all of it. I will make a mess, but I will clean it up. Always clean up your messes, kids. Okay, now that we've spilled half of it on the table, we're going to mix that in before I add the rest of like the chocolate chunks. Okay, and it really only took like a couple seconds to mix that in. And then I'm going to take this. This is a cup of chocolate chips of various sizes. It's chips and chunks. I get the Simply chocolate. I think it's by Nestle. I'm just going to dump all of these chocolate chips in here. And we have this container. It's not actually, it never actually had chocolate chips in it, I don't think. But it's like a cute little chocolate chip container, am I right? Okay, so this is what your finished dough should look like. It's pretty dense, pretty thick, no wet spots. It's all blended together. There's no dry spots either. Okay, so with my dough all finished, I am ready to scoop them out. I have this scoop that's about 1/4 cup, I'd say. I like those like big cookies, you know what I'm saying? They're nice. My oven has been set to 350 while I was making them because it only takes like 15 to 20 minutes to mix up this dough. Oh, and the best part about this dough is if you don't feel like baking them and you just feel like having some edible cookie dough, you can, because there's no raw flour for E. coli and no raw eggs for salmonella. So yay! Edible cookie dough for the win. If you're having like that slumber party with an edible cookie dough bar, that's so cute. Like an edible cookie dough bar. Think about it. Like if you just like made the dough and then you had like sprinkles and chocolate chips and like chopped nuts and like all of the different toppings and whatever. So cute. This should make about 24 cookies of like this size. Maybe less because my family has been eating my cookie dough. Just space them about 1 inch apart like you would do with any cookie. Give it a little space to grow. A little room for getting bigger. Like when you buy jeans. Just keep scooping, just keep scooping. What do? We scoop, scoop. So much chocolate, so delicious. Bye, Brian. So I'm back. My cookies are all baked and done and delicious. They baked for 20 minutes. And here's what they look like. They're nice and ginormous. Like everybody wants a delicious cookie. So I'm just going to give them a taste test for you. They sound nice and crisp. See? Nice crisp sound. If I was going to rate these, even though it's my recipe, I'd give them a 10 out of 10. They're great cookies. Make them. If you're gluten-free or a gluten-free person in your family, you should try these. Because really, I feel like they're indistinguishable from a nice, like, crispy cookie. If you want, like, a softer cookie, add more milk when you begin and you'll end up with, like, a bit softer of a cookie. But that's that on the best gluten-free cookies that you can make. So thank you so much for watching, and if you try this recipe, hit me up in the comments below and tell me what you think. Give me a rating out of 10. I will leave the recipe in the description below, and all my social media is linked down there too. And I love you so much. Goodbye.